Peace to the family. This is the Hood Mystic representing www.hoodmystic.com. Just want to encourage everybody to join us September 19th, September 20th, and go ahead and give me a thumbs up or I can hear you or okay. Just let me know that y'all can hear me, but I'll continue. Join us September 19th, September 20th, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as we deliver the solar plexus presentation. That is me, Racine Maurice, and that man Prime Harmonic. We will be delivering a dynamic presentation on the solar plexus, most often confused and misunderstood, and strictly in the space of abstract, and we don't realize how important our solar plexus mind is, how important our subconscious mind is, and how important our pancreas is. We just are deep diving into this whole subject and giving you solutions, giving you tools to balance your solar plexus. And we will be doing this every single month for the next additional 4 months. This is class 3 out of 7. And I say this now, get in while you can fit in now, because it's $23 for the class. You sign up for the class now, you don't have nothing to worry about. But when we finish this whole entire mission in this next 4 months, the price is going to go up really, really high. And, things are going to get really, really crazy. But right now, we are doing it the right way. We are activating the chakras month to month to month, and we are doing it for you guys. We are giving you the information in a clear, effective way so you can begin to activate your chakras safely and effectively without paying a whole bunch of money or dealing with a whole bunch of rhetoric and nonsense that doesn't make sense. Each course comes with a guided meditation. Each course comes with a handbook. Now, this handbook is free for a PDF, but we also have the handbook in, paperback form, and you can order all of this on columbianexchange.com. If you haven't been up to speed, you didn't take the root chakra or you didn't take the sacral chakra, and you feel like, man, I need to catch up. I want to do the solar plexus, but dang, let me catch up. columbianexchange.com, and that's Columbian with an X, change.com. You can get the root chakra and the solar plexus, and right now we got a deal. If you get the class, you'll get the handbook sent to you absolutely free. You don't got to pay for nothing, right? I'll send you the handbook if you buy the course. And this is from now until the 19th, right? So the 19th, this sale is over. We'll introduce a new sale. But if you want the free handbook sent to you right now, go to columbianexchange.com. And the thing is, it's an automatic discount. So what you need to do is just add the book to your cart. And once you go to the checkout, the price will get knocked off for you. But thank you for my little small TED talk. Let's deal with the reason that you guys are here. I do appreciate your time and patience. As you know, I talk y'all head to death. And wait a second, bro. They ain't not playing fair. Let me get this together. Give me 1 second, family. Gotta have a logo, right? Gotta have a logo, It's only right that the logo be on display. Shout out, y'all. It's the Hood Mystic representing www.hoodmystic.com. And this is The Truth is Stranger Than Fiction. This is Lovecraft Country, episode 4. What I'm going to do with this episode is just simply create a narrative that I made up. I made a whole complete up narrative, but my creative fiction is based on real life things. And I take the show and then I create like this story that probably don't have nothing to do with the show, but it's interesting because I'm using real shit, right? So this is like a mind building, right? And a mind bending experience that I'm going to take you down. I'm going to take you down into a wormhole. I'm going to take you into a journey of my mind. So peace to the family. Thank you all for joining me. And we're just going to kind of go through scene by scene, not necessarily scene by scene, just kind of give you kind of a rundown of episode 4. And then with that, I'll kind of go and show you like what I thought from it. I watched the episode about 4 times just to get a feel and just kind of get like, what were they trying to say? And let me deal with the purpose or the root. Because a lot of times people don't understand my root. People don't understand my purpose and my understanding for this. So my root and my purpose for this conversation is that they have fooled and bamboozled millions of ancestral, indigenous, natural persons of America into thinking that they're from Africa. And this is just not North America. This could even go down into the Caribbeans. This can go down even into South America and then all over the world. Okay. So what we're referencing here is King Philip's War. This was a pivotal war in the dynamics between the ancient people of Atlantis or America versus the invading empirical European forces. And because these empirical European forces invaded the land, they had to create a psychology. They had to create a workaround for which they were going to exist and take over this land, but they didn't want to have to deal with any backtrack from the descendants of these particular energies. And so in order to do this, they have to make the ancestors become monsters. You know, they have to make the ancestors become evil. They have to, you know, create a whole narrative about this country that is no longer Atlantis. It is now Lovecraft Country, right? So we have love, which is the root primary understanding of our ancestral lineage. And then we have craft. That is the magic that we all should be doing. And we should all know when and where and how to get into our ancestral energy. And if we don't know how to get into it, this show is basically telling you how to. So episode 4 starts off with Rihanna. Bitch better have my money, right? And it's Christina whipping the silver, whatever you call that. That ride is fly. That ride is fly in 2020. Christina be low key, killing it with the swag. You can't hate on Christina as much as you want to. She's really doing it. Like she got her SHIT together. But they was playing Rihanna, right? And they was playing Bitch Better Have My Money, right? So Rihanna is from Barbados. She was born actually in St. Michael, Barbados. So this brings up 2 things. St. Michael, then St. Michael, Barbados. So first we have to deal with St. Michael, and then we have to deal with Barbados, because Barbados, you have to look into Barbello, which is the divine mother. Okay. But St. Michael is said to be fighting. He's a warrior. And he's a warrior, but he fights with lapis lazuli. Okay. And lapis lazuli then is related to Mayat. It might sound confusing, but we'll bring this back into understanding. So lapis lazuli is an energy or a stone or a crystal that is representative of Solomon's ring. And St. Michael is the one who gave it to Solomon, right? So we're still talking about St. Michael and Rihanna in this energy to fight off demons, this energy of the divine feminine energy. So the idea is, do you want to fight the demons or do you want to get to know the demons? That's really key in understanding or unlocking the door to your relations with your ancestral energy, because you could love craft or you could, fight and, get into some battling and things of that nature. But Mayat is signified by the number 42. Okay. But the Mayat energy is about to kind of rain down on my channel. I'm going to open up the door for the new moon, and then for the full moon, we'll do the full Mayat celebration. But this is in honoring of the ancestors. However, when you see this kind of trope we might think of Brooklyn Dodgers and Jackie Robinson. And let me just throw a side note in here. Be sure to check out Dreamwise's channel. He delivered some profound information where he connected Jackie Robinson to Black Panther because he was in a Black Panther battalion, right? You know what I'm saying? Like Jackie Robinson was in the army and he was in the Black Panther battalion. Like you cannot make this up, right? But he had that 42 frequency. He had that 42 mantle, and the Dodgers were the color blue, right? It's all tapping into a lapis lazuli frequency, but this lapis lazuli frequency is more than what meets the eye. It's how you actually defeat or connect to your ancestral lineage. But Rihanna is the center of this episode. She starts off the episode and she ends off the episode. I'll explain later, and I'll have to get into some deep stuff, and none of this stuff is here to, you know, offend or disrespect anybody. We just kind of dealing with this energy. So let's just talk about Saint Michael real quick. Saint Michael Barbados, Saint Michael Barbello, Solomon is just all of the same thing of divine lineage, ancestral rights that can't be denied, but we can just act like they don't exist. Okay. So Saint Michael gave the king, or Solomon, a lapis lazuli ring that enabled him to control the legions of demons. It gave him the power to summon genies, to speak with animals, and also flowers. It gave him incredible powers over almost anything. The ring was made of a gold inset and the seal of an engraved lapis lazuli. Okay, so understand this. When Tick put on the ring, spoiler alert, right? If you haven't watched episode 4, this is going to spoil everything. So when Tick puts on the ring, he's now able to understand Yahima. Don't nobody else understand her, but he can speak to and then hear her because he has on this lapis lazuli ring. He's able to communicate with Barbello. He's able to communicate with this Baphometic figure that they brought to life, but then also crucified in the same instant within a 5-minute span. And it's a reason for that. But however, the whole episode was about her, but we just didn't understand it. So let's get into the mysteries of the divine feminine. Because what do we have? We have Masons, but when you look at the word and not think of it in a derogatory fashion, we just have Ma sons, meaning the sons of the mother. Okay, this is the deeper mystery. So she has on the Saturnalian hat trying to get some information from the energy of Letitia, and Letitia still has the wards up. So within that, they're kind of giving you clues on how to actually tap in and deal with your ancestors. It's through sigil magic. We've been talking about basic sigil magic for the longest. And if you don't build up your sigils, then who gonna build up your sigils for you? Well, Hood, I don't know what sigils is. Basic Sigil Magic by Philip Cooper. It's free all over the internet. If you ain't got no sigils, then how you programming your subconscious mind? Because your subconscious mind responds to symbols. So if you getting your ass whooped out here, you not having no money, no increase and things of that nature, then one has to actually begin to actually put that shit up in their homes and, you know, walk around and begin to program their subconscious mind. Because if you're not doing that, then somebody else is doing it for you. And 10 times out of 10, you are not liking the results in 2020. This is a magical universe. That's what this show is letting you. Don't let the old time shit fool you, right? See, some things that I'm not going to talk about, like Emmett Till and things of that nature, because they love pulling you back in time. I want to bring this conversation present because let's deal with the energy of Governor Winthrop. Oh, I didn't mean to say Governor Winthrop. I meant to say the Winthrop house. Now, this is the house that Letitia lives in, but we've already broke down what Winthrop is. You can Google it right now. You can do Winthrop ancestry, Winthrop etymology. You'll find the word Wigmund. And you take wig, that breaks down into wine. And then you have mound, or mound is just God or the vagina. So Winthrop is just a code word for wine mound. Wine is specifically significant in relation to Jesus, but it's also related to the whore of Babylon, or the whore of Barbello, or the patron saint of Barbados, or Saint Michael. It was actually scripted when this young lady was born. Okay, February 20th, 1988. And you can look right now who is up in Barbados. You can look at the thumbnail to this picture. The royal family loves Barbados, right? They own it, right? They monitoring it because they monitoring this Barbello energy. And if Rihanna ain't Barbello, then y'all we gonna have to have a whole nother video. Okay, we're gonna have to have a whole nother video. Y'all just don't know goddesses when y'all see them. A goddess can put out a #1 song and then say, you know what? I'm tired of doing #1 songs. I'm gonna put out a #1 makeup. This makeup, everybody gonna wear this. I don't even gotta make music no more. I can just sell makeup. I got 42 views right now. 42 viewers right now. Ashe. So the owner of the house is Hiram Epstein. So, of course, Hiram Abiff is the widow's son. He is the central character in the Freemasonic lore. Epstein, of course, we have Jeff Epstein, one of what they call Epstein Island and all of this particular crazy stuff. But if you put these composited energies or these chimerical energies, it'll throw a smoke screen on what's actually being taken place. Who was Jeff Epstein? He must have been a high-ranking member in the secret Masonic order, for which, when they reference him in the show, they reference him as being taken out and trying to get answers from his ghost. Now, the truth is stranger than fiction, and that might throw y'all off. And I ain't trying to get flagged or nothing like that. So hopefully y'all following along in my train of thought. Peace to everybody. Peace to the divine masculines on the channel, all of that, right? So when they get the Ori, they're referencing the Virgo cluster. Now, the Virgo cluster, then again, is the Virgin, but the Virgin thus is the Virgo constellation when it gets to that border of Virgo and Libra. And that Virgo and Libra then is the constellation that we always see in the North Star. That is the Big Dipper. Now, the Big Dipper is the energy that the ancestors would call Mayat, because it's the balance between Virgo and Libra, for which Mayat is represented with Anubis. And this is the Virgo cluster, for which it's all astronomy and mythology and personifications to understand the cyclical nature of the cosmos, for which we can always bear witness to the influence of mythological Egyptian energies, because we can always bear witness of the cosmological influence that appears brightly in our night sky. So when she has this Ori, she's really referencing, once again, the law of Mayat. But the law of Mayat, or the energy of Mayat, is a universal force expressing as balance and order, a natural justice based upon the law of basic equilibrium inherent to the universe. So in this normal sense, when they are referencing Hippolyta in possession of this Ori that has these two sons, she is in tune with the level of intuition and the connection that she's not fully aware of. Because the whole time, everybody is searching for what Hippolyta already possesses, which George had led her to a long time ago. for which this cosmology is really being played out before us in this show, but generally we tend to not really understand it. So I'll say it's two things. It's the ancient order of this I don't know, secret society. But then this secret society, what is the secret? The secret is the cosmos and the understandings of it, for which nobody is necessarily talking about. Why? Because the energy of the cosmos is a universal force that's inherent to the universe. What does that mean? That means that it comes with the universe. Like abundance, wisdom, birthright, luxury, finances, all you can imagine, it just comes with the universe. But if it's a secret, then by default, you are blocked out of it. But the reality is the disclosure should open you up to the fact that magic truly exists, not for other people, but it exists for you too. Okay? It exists for you too. And so here we have Mayat, and then we also have Saint Michael. Because this energy is relatable. But it's just a coincidence that Rihanna is born literally in Saint Michael, Barbados. Okay, but this energy doesn't really stop here. We're diving deeper down this rabbit hole. So another point that I want to kind of bring into this is that when they're at the library, we're moving on in the show. Tick tells Letitia, like, I'm trying to figure this out so I can start doing my own spells so I can protect us. So when it comes to this energy, when it comes to the secret societies, when it comes to the blue checks, when it comes to people who are in authority, the reverends, the popes, the rabbis, the gurus, the spiritual leaders, people who got the crowns and all of this shit. And they like, I know something that you don't know. Check they ass, fam. You understand what I'm saying? And after you check they ass, hit up them ley lines, man. Find that energy for yourself, because it ain't a secret. You just don't know it, right? It ain't a secret. You just don't know it, but it's around you. It's inherent to the universe. Mayat represents a cosmic universal force that comes with the universe. So when these secret societies are playing this 42, they're giving you the code that this ancient primordial force is present and is here to whoop ass. Not for everybody, like a mama is going to whoop ass here, but then is actually going to protect its children. So give me a second, family. I'm going to throw this video on and I'm going to come right back. I'll be right back. All right, we back. Man, my I'm crying right now, yo. I'm crying. So we're here now. We're still in the library with Tick and Letitia, and the little boy, he's reading a book and he keep telling them to shut up. He keep telling them to stop, He like, stop, shut up. Because he's reading the book. He's forewarning what this show is about. So the show is about journey to the center of the earth, right? So let's bring this back a little bit. Journey to the center of the earth was written in around like the 1800s or 1800s, right? And this was a story about some men in England who are traveling to a place that they've never been. And once they traveled there, they seen all of these creatures, they seen all of this weird stuff, and then they just got shot back into Italy, right? But then there's been later productions of this actual book or novel, which indicated that that underworld energy is actually Atlantis. But this is a play on the European mind that was being subjugated in their respective colonies. But then they got taught writing. And so they would begin to imagine what the world was outside of their village. And in their mind, they couldn't conceive of, America. They could only conceive of ghosts, goblins, and things of that nature because they never been there. They put out these books, spread them all over the country, and this began to be the collective consciousness of these people. So when they began to travel, young men like H.P. Lovecraft, who was looking for inspiration to explain the world for which that he lived in, relied on people like Jules Verne in the book Journey to the Center of the Earth. And so Jules Verne is a source of H.P. Lovecraft. He is a root. So when we get into the energy of the mound, right, a novella or a short story by H.P. Lovecraft, we then understand what this episode is about, or maybe the show, because this is Lovecraft Country. So the writer of Lovecraft Country is not Lovecraft. He's using Lovecraft as a source. Okay? And it's a perpetuation of a false reality of what Atlantis is going to be like. But then you have Francis Bacon that say, hey, wait, guys. This is new Atlantis, and we're going to do it completely different because y'all crazy, right? Y'all, it ain't no monsters over here. It's just some beautiful Aboriginal melanated men and women, and their children, and in this paradise, We about to create these, we about to turn them into monsters, though. And so this is the process. When we watch horror movies that center in America and beyond, we're representing the demonization of our ancestral force and ancestral lineage. And one of the root works to Lovecraft is this story called The Mound. Lovecraft is a story of a mound that conceals a gateway to a subterranean civilization. So in the Winthrop house, Wine Mound, right? Wig Mund, right? Wine Mound. Under there is a elevator that leads to a subterranean civilization. And the interesting part, that is in Chicago, and from Chicago, they go to Boston. Well, riddle me this, Batman. What parallel line is Chicago and Boston on, respectively? The 42 North parallel. 42 North. Oh, wow. Dang. So you mean to say that these mounds was a subterranean highway system for our ancestors? I say exactly, because let me riddle me this again. I was born in Boston, so I know for a fact that the thing about Boston is that it has a subway system, an underground railroad system. Chicago does too. But after you get off them transit lines, where do those lines go? And them left and rights that you can go to, them doors that are locked off and things of that nature, where do those doors go to? If you know, my email is hoodmystic@gmail.com, because we need to understand what's happening below us. We need to journey to the center of the earth. And so obviously none of us have these particular shovels or drills or nothing like that. But what we do have is the imagination and the ability to ground and root ourselves in ancestral knowledge without being afraid of it. Okay, so the interesting part about this plot to the mound is that it's being guarded by a hermaphroditic energy. It's a man by day and a woman by night. So if you watch the show, what is Yahima? She is a half from hermaphroditic energy. She is a man by man parts and woman parts. Right. And you got to read the story of the mound. I'm not going to get into it. It's a beautiful story. It talks about the people of the mound, the Kenyans, right, and things of that nature. But I'll be bringing that up again. So when they're in the tunnels, when they make it through the tunnel, because it's at midnight, once the sun shines down on the tooth of Sobek, and they open up that wisdom tooth, and that wisdom opens up the doorway to that actual energy. Because when you reference the energy of Boston, you're referencing the energy of a man by the name of William Blackstone. This is Boston's settler and founder, William Blackstone. However, there was also something that went on in the Massachusetts area called the King's Philip War. In the episode 4, the title is called A History of Violence. Okay, so when you talk about the root relationship between the natives of this land and the European invaders, it starts when? King's Philip's War. If you don't know about this war, please watch it, get familiar with it. Because a lot of the energy that's being perpetuated now, it starts there. So the uncovering of the right, uncovering of the mystery of the transatlantic slave trade starts here. It starts at Metacomet. It starts in the King's Philip War, because the descendants of Metacomet, the descendants of the Massachusetts Indians, they were sent to a specific place, ladies and gentlemen. And that remains to be seen, and we'll talk about it. The tour guide said his voyage to the Caribbean was his last. Okay. And this is when he picked up Yahima, and he took Yahima back to Massachusetts. But there was a slave trade that was happening, and it wasn't from Africa to America, ladies and gentlemen. It wasn't from Africa to America. It was from Massachusetts to the Caribbean. It was from New York to the Caribbean. It was from Virginia to the Caribbean. It was from Florida to South America. It was all of that. It was America. It's the reverse Underground Railroad. You can Google all of this. I'm not making none of this up. The reverse Underground Railroad, right? Indian slavery, right? Somehow Indian slavery got transmogrified into African slavery, but that's a later development. Right now, we're talking about the energy of Titus Braithwaite and his voyages to the Caribbeans from Massachusetts. So he asks Letitia fucking Lewis before they head out to the show, "You got family in Boston?" And she don't say nothing. But the truth is stranger than fiction, because there's a Elma Ina Lewis, right, who was born in Boston, right? Lewis was born September 15, 1921 in Boston to parents Claremont and Edward Lee Lewis, who had immigrated from Barbados. So it's a deeper mystery, because they telling Letitia, like, look, it ain't all about the dudes right now. This is what Christina is telling. And then the next episode is going to be more centered on her sister and her understanding who she is primordially. This is the Barbello disclosure. Barbello. You like, well, who the hell is Barbello, Hood? I don't know what you're talking about. Google it. Inform yourself, right? We talking about Gnosticism. Right? Gnosis, knowing that you are a seed of this actual divine feminine energy, and this divine feminine energy supersedes the biblical reality. But I digress. So she says she has family. Well, she doesn't say she has family in Boston. A quick Google search reveals Elma Ina Lewis, and of course, she is affiliated with the Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority. So let's just talk about the King's Philip War for a second, because a lot of people think I'm on something and they don't know what I'm talking about. So Africans who were largely unaware of their destination when they were shipped out from the West African coast, New England Indian captives not only knew where they might be sent, but they often stated it outright: Barbados. Okay. Today, Barbados is a popular tourist destination with few traces of its plantation and Indian slaveholding past. Not African slaveholding past, but Indian slaveholding. Do you know anything about the Indian slaves? Okay. They always say in your history books that Indians own slaves, but they never say that Indians were slaves. Why is that? Why is that? Okay. And why they don't talk about Barbados? Because when you look at the show, there is a not a Google translator, but their closed caption. When Yahima is speaking, she's speaking in the Arawak language. And if you do a quick reference of Arawak and Barbados, you will see that the ancestral Aboriginal energy of Barbados were the Arawak tribes. And Barbados was not the only destination. The paper trail of New England natives who were enslaved and sent overseas suggests that they arrived in Barbados, Bermuda. Barbados, Bermuda, ooh, I wanna take you to Bahamas. Come on, pretty. I had to just throw that in there. Jamaica, the Azores, Spain, Tangier, and then North Africa. Have you ever heard of Indians aboriginal to the soil being sent to Africa? No, you always hear about Africans being sent here. Now, don't tell me what I need to know. Tell me everything. Tell me it was back and forth. Because I'll give you another example. We got millions of natives here. But we ain't going to use these people. We going to travel thousands of miles across the ocean and get a whole bunch of people that 2/3 of my stock ain't even going to make the trip. Because the conditions that I'm presenting is not even applicable to human survival. So it's like if you in a weed farm and you got all the weed, but then you go around the corner down the street. No, you go across country to a dispensary. You in Cali, and then you travel to Atlanta for some weed. And then you drive back to Cali to smoke your weed. How do that make sense? Now, I know what I said was confusing, but this is the logic that they try to give you of the African slave trade. Millions of people. I need to get these people from over there because these people over here they are dying. But then you reference it's Native Americans living today. So if they either all died or what? I'm confused by y'all narratives. Y'all narratives ain't making sense. Okay. Hundreds, if not thousands of natives turned themselves in to local English governments or English allied native leaders hoping to avoid slavery at all costs. So this is where you get these boule mugs. This is where you get your African American studies teacher. He don't know no better. She don't know no better. She only know what she been told. And they got all of the documents to lie to you so you can be inundated with lies. Dr. Carr's ass, right? Hella books filled with lies. And you engorge yourself on all of those lies. You get an ego this big filled with lies. Well, let me pop your goddamn balloon, doctor. You understand? We ain't from there. They from us. This is Atlantis. This is the root of civilization. Mayat said so. Okay? So you just got to kind of understand these things, right? And understanding that these small group of native people like us don't want to be subjugated. They don't want to be labeled. So they tell us who we are so they can live off the benefit, and then they can be the encapsulating protective force for these invaders of our sacred homelands. People telling us what's right and wrong when we already have an understanding of what's right and wrong because we read the books and we do the knowledge. Then you got all of these hip hop artists like, oh yeah, I meditate too now. Nigga, we've been there, done that, family. I don't care no more. B.O.B. was the last straw. You know what I'm saying? No more hip hop artists allowed. I'm sorry, NLE Choppa. I'm sorry. You ain't allowed. You don't get to be popping Percocets. Then the next day you woke because we could have been popping perks too. We could have been turned up at the club too, right? And it ain't no. I work for them. They giving me all of my money, but I get to show y'all how spiritual I am because I'm working through the establishment. No, we independent with our spirituality. And that's just a different level that most people ain't really into. But then we got to understand that this Boule system is real. And it's been implemented since the creation of You From Africa. Because if they was going to tell us we was from Africa, we would have picked up on the lie. But no, we invested years and years in African-American studies that we can begin to start to believe that shit too. Okay. And that's where we mess up. Okay. So like I said, William Blackstone founded Boston. Now, the story on William Blackstone is a little sketchy because if you look up William Blackstone, you might not find it. But if you look up William Blackston, Blaxton, you'll find that. But he changes his name. His wife, and the interesting thing about the founders and settlers of Boston, they obviously didn't have no moms or dads. Mother unknown, father unknown. So obviously these people just emerged out of the earth and founded this civilization for which we call Boston, Massachusetts. Right? So Blackstone called his home Study Hill, which was on the map. He had the largest library in the whole colonies at the time. The East Coast from the bottom to the top. And I don't know, I might be over my time. So let me just check real quick. Because I got this room from 1:30 to 2:30 and it's already 2:36. So I'll wait to see this dude walk past here one more time. Let me just check. That's the thing about this office space. You can rent out the rooms, and we'll see. I'll just go through it and kind of see if it'll walk by. But so at the cusp of his library, this William Blackstone, because he was in Boston, and an interesting thing happened where we call Boston Commons. That he owned that. You know, Boston Commons is like the place that people kind of go, catch a vibe, hang out downtown Boston. You know, it's like Central Park for Boston. William Blackstone owned that, but he wasn't a Puritan, but he was an English settler. So we got to really understand that the creation of the concept of white and black at this particular time in the 1600s did not exist. You can look at the heraldry of Europe and you can look at the faces of the kings and queens of Europe right now. They had this melanin. Only when the concept and the Reconstruction era was presented, they couldn't get rid of everything, but boy, they sure tried. Because the narrative had to fit the mind control. So if you say, how did we be slaves from West Africa and be kings in England at the same time? How do the Moors take over Spain, create the civilization of Spain, and just kind of disappear into the shadows? So it's an interesting predicament. Okay. And so real quick, we have a Subterranean. This is the map for which was giving Titus his breakthroughs and things of this nature. And you can see he traveled from Africa or to Africa. You can't really tell, but his route was from Massachusetts, and this is Barbados. And then he traveled to Guyana. Now, Barbados and Guyana are part of a union. They're real close to each other. You have Barbados, Bahamas. Come on, pretty mama. We talking about Atlantis, okay? Atlantic Ocean, okay? Atlantis Ocean, okay? It's very simple. So they take the North Tunnel, but this is a Subterranean. A Subterranean is a septentrion. The septentrion is the Big Dipper, okay? The Big Dipper is the energy of Ma'at, okay? We've discussed all of this earlier, right? The Great Bear, the 7 stars of the Big Dipper, the balance point of cosmic truth. I think even Harriet Tubman followed the North Star home, right? All codes. So once again, another code that they let you know, they was referencing the Freeman. He told the story about the knot, how it was transition from generation to generation. He was a slave master and this, that, and the third. And then as she walking, he looking at his dad like, bro, you tweaking. We wasn't never slaves. He like, shit, it got her up there, didn't it? So we got to really understand, man, we were never slaves. We just believe that we are. So once again, we have the Indian slaves and the Indian slave holders. But what came first, the chicken or the egg? The freedmen come from the forced, because their name is Freeman. Everybody's name is Freeman. And when he's burning the actual book, he's saying, damn, it smells like Tulsa. All right. So the freedmen are the forced removal of the 5 tribes from their homelands in the southeastern United States, i.e. Florida, and the Moorish legacy between Florida and Spain is being disrupted. Andrew Jackson is coming in there doing a whole bunch of evil and vile stuff and ruining the whole Confederacy. Okay, the Confederacy is just representing the ties between the Moorish bloodlines and the Indian Aboriginal energies, which then they kind of flip and say, look, they holding all the slaves. They the slaveholders. Wait a second. We family. What you mean? They ain't holding me, you know? You got to look into it. The treatment of quote unquote slaves is that of a reversal in Florida. It is said that the slaves actually rule over the leaders in Florida. We don't know our narratives, right? So I'm gonna end this because people keep walking by and I'm over my time. Right. So so I just wanted to share a lot of this information with y'all just to get y'all into kind of the frequency or understanding that, you know, we can believe the propaganda or we cannot. And if you Google Rihanna in Florida, you get the same gematria. So this energy of Yahima is taken from a Florida story by Renee Goulian Laudonnière. I love that pronunciation. I think it was perfect. He arrived in Florida to assert French claims to the region. And when he got there, he was exhausted. And at that point, a hermaphroditic spirit, when an Indian woman of tall stature, which also was an hermaphrodite, came before them and gave them a great vessel of clear fountain water and greatly refreshed us. If it wasn't for this actual energy, they would have surely died. Okay. So when you reference these energies, they're not actually talking about the whole country. They're talking about a real sliver of their experience in founding and creating what they call United States of America, aka Lovecraft Country. But the roots of it is a deep love of ancestral relationships between us and our ancestors. But the intermediary and the entertainment want to tell us a whole bunch of stuff for which we are disconnected. And then once we do get connected, there's a whole bunch of monsters and evil stuff. I'm here to say none of that shit exists because the truth is stranger than fiction. I'm here, got a lot of things to do. I will be opening up the school today. So if you are a university student, class hours begin now, and I'm signing out. Peace.